Okay, hi everyone. This is the February 17th Eclipse Megamovie volunteer meeting. Hello. Sorry for starting late. I'm going to be Hannah for today, so I will try to facilitate as best as possible. And I will monitor the chat, as well as record this meeting for other folks that will join us later. Feel free to raise your hand or let us know if you have any questions. Our agenda for today is very informal. We're going to hear some updates from Laura. Yay! And we will have an opportunity for folks to share photos. So it's always a good time for us. We love seeing what work you do with all your astrophotography, and it's a great time to share and care. Sharing and caring is good. Okay, Laura, go ahead and take it away.
Okay. All right. So there are, I wanted to give you a little update on what we've been doing. And so I have this JPEG of a image that I am going to show. Um, okay. So let's see. In 2015, Juan Carlos Martinez Oliveras and I we're working on a proposal to NASA about what we might do with the Eclipse Megamovie 2017 data if they funded us for a proposal. In 2015, they did not fund us for a proposal because um, they weren't sure that we could actually recruit people to take photographs of the total solar eclipse and the corona. And so for NASA proposals, you really have to prove that what you're saying you're going to do can be done, and which usually means you do some of the work ahead of time. So that's why we got NASA funding this year, or this, for the 2024 eclipse, because we had done the 2017 eclipse. And so that provided the backbone to our proposal for the 2024 eclipse. And when we put together the proposal for the 2024 eclipse, the NASA proposal, one of the things we said we would do is to continue analyzing the 2017 data because we never had funding to analyze it for science. So part of our effort is not only to work with the data you all provided in 2024, but to also go back to the 2017 data and really use some of the new tools for machine learning and what we kind of understand about stacking these images and work towards doing science with the 2017 data. So this image I'm showing you is in fact a 2017, it's from this data set from 2017, the total solar eclipse. And the top image is a high dynamic range image of the solar corona. And basically what Juan did is he took some processed data from the 2017 database. Um, Really, these are kind of randomly selected throughout the path. So this is a proof of concept. And he made a high dynamic range image using a machine learning algorithm that he is an open source algorithm to see could he create a high dynamic range image that is as good or better than the ones we created without the machine learning algorithm. And sure enough, he'd managed to do it. So in the past, these, if I zoom in, let me see if this will work. If I kind of zoom in here, you can kind of see in here, there's some loops from the in the chromosphere here. And those loops, we can never really get those nicely kind of to pop out in this way before. And sure enough, the algorithm is doing a good job kind of pulling out those features in this high dynamic range image. And then the next thing that we had said we would do in the proposal is to flatten, basically take this image and flatten it so that the surface of the sun is just made into a flat surface here on the bottom. And then the idea is if you can now it's just like when you take a map of Earth and you flatten it, it kind of makes parts of it expand and other parts contract. And so what this does for us is, well, it 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 allows us to have a linear mapping here. And this part, can you see my cursor when I'm doing this? Yeah. So this part here is the north pole of the sun, and then over here is the south pole of the sun. And then these are the coronal loops that you can see coming off of the sun here. And if because we can do this now effectively, although this did burn up, it crashed Juan's computer, Professor Dr. Carlos's computer, because it just heated up. He has a 16 core processor. It's a Mac machine, and his processors got so hot doing this work that it crashed, and he had to reboot it and do it again. He had to change some of the parameters, but he did finally get it to work once he I don't know, I forget exactly what parameters he changed. But the nice thing about this is now that we have this kind of flattened version, we can make the high dynamic range image out of, spanning across the path, starting from the early times and moving to the later times. And then we'll be able to see some of these features either, moving to the right or left. And that will kind of what we're looking for, what Juan really is looking for are some things called plasma waves. So sometimes in these what's really exciting about studying this area that we can't study as easily with NASA satellite images is that a lot of the plasma characteristics like density, they change so dramatically from the surface of the sun or the photosphere of the sun out to this part of the of these images that we had you take that the characteristics of these plasma waves changes dramatically. And there's a lot of ideas about how that helps and to heat the corona, which is one of the big questions of solar scientists, is why is a corona so much hotter than the photosphere, that surface of the sun? So it's like the opposite of when you have a candle. Like a candle starts hot and you move away from a candle and it gets colder and colder and colder. But that's not what happens with the sun. The sun's hot and then it gets hotter and hotter as you get out into the atmosphere. And so that's kind of one of the big questions that we're trying to understand. And so what we want to do with these images, even back in the 2017 data, is to say, are there some plasma waves that we can characterize in this way? So this is this is Juan's proof of concept for doing so, and we're very excited about that. So I wanted to give you all an update. We've been doing all sorts of different things. The other thing we did is we worked again with our professor here, who is an expert in machine learning, and he is a professor of computer science. And we provided some of the 2024 data. Really, Troy did, and Troy's also sick today. We have a lot of people out sick right now, but so stay safe. Maybe that's also why other people aren't here. And so we rotated, we kind of gave them some label rotation data so that we could see if they could create a machine learning algorithm that would rotate the data all to the solar North Pole. And so they worked on that all semester and presented last semester to us, and they were able to do some of it, but because we had some problems with our labeling, because remember we had that conversation about the meridian flip. I don't know if some of you remember, but there's a part during the path of totality, there was a time when the basically the tracking of the sun went through went from 0 to 360. And so when it does that, some of the astro photography cameras, like the tracking mounts, it'll do a big swoop to try to get back to its alignment. So it kind of does this big, but I think that's, anyways, I think we are labeling, we had a couple problems with some of the images that the 0 and 360 just got flipped, just kind of like the meridian flip. So, um, anyways, there's a lot to learn there as well. So that's kind of, those are some of the things we've been doing with Eclipse Megamovie. Um, any questions on any of those things?
Laura, I want to make sure you saw his question in the chat.
Oh, I did not. Let me see.
Going from polar coordinates to Cartesian, right? Can you confirm?
Exactly. That is
Ah,
exactly correct. Yes. Thank you.
for all the map nerds out there.
That's right. It's called topology or
Ooh,
differential geometry.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you ever want to take a math class about the changing coordinate systems like that, you would take a differential geometry class. Um, yeah. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention real quick is this framework. I know we have at least one a science educator here, teacher. Um, and so in the chat, I put this link, and I'm just going to do a share screen again real quick to show this framework for heliophysics education. My colleagues at Goddard Space Flight Center have been working on this for many, many years with many teachers across the country. And what they were doing is to really think about, like, what are some of the core concepts in the solar science or heliophysics that connect with K-12 education? What are the big ideas? How can it get connected to the K-12 framework or NGSS, depending on what state you're in. And so they did this really beautiful job of kind of coming up with the framework and then attaching resources to that framework that exists throughout NASA. So I think if you do any education work, this could be a really useful tool for you. And so I wanted to kind of share it with you. Here are some of the big concepts. The sun is really big and influences all objects in the solar system. The sun is active and can impact technology on Earth via space weather. The sun's energy drives Earth's climate, but the climate is in a delicate balance and is changing due to human activity. Life on Earth has evolved with complex diversity because of our location near the sun. It is just right. The sun defines the space around it, which is different from interstellar space, and the sun is the primary light source in the solar system. And then they have some more, three more. The sun is made of churning plasma, causing the surface to be covered with complex tangled magnetic fields. Energy from the sun is created in the core, travels outward through the sun and into the heliosphere, and our sun, like all stars, has a life cycle. Okay, so those are just some of the things I wanted to share with you. And that's it from me.
Great. For folks that joined recently, I put what Laura was just sharing back into the chat again, so it's accessible. So I hope you guys can get that. Okay, so this is where I would love to see who would like to share photos because that is what we've allotted the rest of the time for this meeting. You can unmute yourself. I can make a list if there's more than one person. We can go in order or just put yourself into the chat if you have any cool photos that you would like to share since this is a photography group. Anyone, anyone? Okay, Kaz and Heather, yay, awesome. Okay, anyone who wants to go after Kaz and Heather, go ahead and either, just holler in the chat or DM me. But Kaz and Heather, go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you. Yeah, but like Hannah mentioned like video or picture or video. So exactly a week ago we had like a SpaceX launch from California and we were in Arizona. But condition was perfect, and then we could see the perfect rocket launch for good 2, 3 minutes, and then we took some pictures, but actually video is more cooler. So yeah, this is the video, and then you can see they released the two side boosters, and they're come off. So there's like it's kind of like good timing to see the different aspects of the rockets. And the main one keeps going, some booster going down to the Mexico somewhere in the ocean. There's a unknown vessel there, and then probably that booster is landing vertically, and so they can recover and then reuse again. So it was a
Wow,
little bit crowded, but yeah, we could
that's
see.
so cool. So those are clouds in front of it, the kind of dark.
Yeah, Arizona had like a little bit thin clouds, and then the rockets is way obviously 400, 500 miles away. So
It's still amazing. You could see it that far away. It's crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense from a field of view sight seeing perspective, but that's stunning.
Yeah, and we also learn from photographing these rockets that normally the best time to photograph them is about an hour after the sunset. Because I mean, we've tried to take pictures of them around midnight. We did that one time, but we couldn't see anything. And I guess
Right.
it might be because of some of the light helps reflect that to be able to get that cloud from the rockets.
well, same as like a plane, have the plane clouds, like a similar condition, maybe some nice moisture in that area so that they make some clouds based on the rockets, and then that would be reflect to the Hawaii area still sunrise, sunset time. So that reflecting to the high airs reflect to these clouds, and that makes us visible. And yeah, if not make any clouds by rockets, obviously we are just tiny dot of the balls of the fire. And then yeah, that we saw it a few times in the midnight, and that's how we saw it before. So
Okay, yeah, that all makes sense now that you said it. But right, it always takes some actual experience before what makes sense. Right. It's
yeah,
part of your
yeah, it's
practice.
like a lot of try
And
and error, but yes, one in I don't know how many we tried it.
oh, we've tried since June last
Yeah,
year.
like pretty much every week they launch it, but perfect condition, perfect timing, perfect weather situation. It's like very rare to line up everything. So
And also learning which camera settings work the best to get those images as well, which we finally figured it out.
I love it. You have like the winning formula, right? You have to give us that magical.
yeah, same as like
Yeah.
Eclipse time. We practice, practice make it perfect. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on then. Are you guys on the Discord actually?
I'm on Discord.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm having trouble opening my Discord, but I think that would be a fantastic thing to post. It's just this quick cheat sheet of how to capture a rocket launch, right? Just like what you discovered from your trial and error. Because I think that's going to be so amazing.
thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, go on. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for sharing. That was brilliant. All right.
Yeah,
So it seems like,
really cool.
yay, Hero, would you like to go next? Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yes, yeah. I'm new here today, so I'm the first time this joined, so I don't know what kind of group this is. But yeah, I'm a friend of Kazu, and Kazu introduced me to this meeting. And then
Okay.
interesting is Kazu and I graduated from same Arizona State University, same graduate school lab. So that's why we know each other. But the interesting is we know before he joined Arizona State University. We are completely different topic. It's Japanese car enthusiast, social network media. We know each other. But coincidentally, he joined the same graduates, the lab. I graduated, of course, a long time ago.
That's
But
so cool.
it's very, very, very coincidence. But
It's a small
anyway,
world. It's a
yeah,
small
yeah.
world.
It's a
It's
very,
such a
very
small
small.
world, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, I'm as you know, the cousin is a computer programmer, and I'm retired computer programmer as well. And then more precisely, I was game programmer. So I was making game. And then I can say Game is something you want to play, something you don't want to make. Because
It's not as fun to make a game as
exactly,
them.
exactly.
Yeah.
Something if you are just playing game, it's fun. But it's like making game is pain.
It
So
is
because
painful.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's deadline and everything. But anyway, I'm retired, and then my personal hobby is photographing mainly. And then of course I'm an engineer, so I'm doing like many other things like a flying drone and 3D printing and everything you name it. So my hobby. But lately I'm kind of in astronomy graph. How to say? Yeah, astro photography.
Astrophotography. Yeah,
Okay,
astrophotography.
astrophotography. Because Kazu introduced me to do the aurora picture from Arizona. We can see Kazu saw aurora from the northern light from Arizona. So he introduced me to that kind of thing. So I just went there, and then I'm kind of in there. So
You're hooked. Are you
yeah,
hooked?
I'm hooked. I'm hooked.
Awesome.
So it's like my very first how to share screen. Okay, share. Yeah, this is my first photograph of Milky Way from my ordinary regular camera. This is my first time. But anyway, I have before I get into this hobby, but I already have what do they call equatorial mount. So it just
Equatorial
moved.
mount. Yep.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm Japanese.
No, you're
Yeah,
doing great.
yeah. And then this is like a 3 minutes photo of Milky Way in the summer. In winter. In the summer we can see more clearly, but I think I can see the Andromeda galaxy and
Oh
those kind
yeah,
of
there it
things.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my second attempt from my backyard is everybody knows this one, right? Orion Nebula
Mhm.
is a very famous one for newbies, for newbies photographer. This is regular. It's not a telescope. It's my regular DSLR with zoom lens, and then I just do I think 10 pictures stack.
Nice.
It's not that bad. Then
Not that bad.
yeah. This one intentionally I put the ground for the kind of scenery. So it's like a Milky
Wow.
Way and ground. And
And you can see the green is an atmospheric it's called
yeah,
the glow. It's a
oh yeah, I
oxygen
think so.
glow.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And then we can see lots of airplane, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And this one is long time ago, Blood Moon
Oh,
from
nice.
yeah, because we are expecting next month we have completely total solar eclipse, right?
Hmm.
So I'm kind of waiting. And then also not only astrophotographing, but I'm a nature photographer. So how about like this one? Lightning.
Wow.
5 second of exposure, and then I got the 3 lightnings in the moment.
Wow, that's stunning. And I love the cacti. The cacti in that's so
Yeah, two
cool.
cactus, so cactus. It's from my front yard. And because I was taking time lapse actually, and then it's one of my time lapse shoot, and then another one like this guy. It's a nice sky cloud and beautiful lightning. I don't know. We can do.
Um,
Uh,
Hero, in the
yes.
chat, I don't know if you can see it, but there's some questions like, how did you predict that there would be lightning for these last two photographs?
Actually, this is coincidence because I can show you how it look like. I don't know. You can see the video or not.
Yes, it's playing.
I was shooting like a sunset, and then coincidentally, it just started lightning. little by little.
Oh. And then you just decided to do a three
Yeah,
second or 5 second, you said,
actually,
exposure?
because I'm doing the auto exposure, so it's just getting longer and longer because it's getting dark.
Oh,
Because I was using low ISO, so the shutter speed is getting lower and lower.
but it's with your DSLR.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because everything I didn't use manual. See?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So you used basically aperture priority, right?
No, programming. Because at the
Oh,
moment I
oh,
didn't
program, not aperture. I see.
not aperture. Because I didn't expect I could get the lightning. So I was using the program, but the uh, uh, fixed color space and everything. ISO, fixed the color mapping, everything is fixed, but the programming. So shutter speed and the aperture is kind of vary. It just gradually slower and slower. And then getting it because initially I was taking on the cloud. So the moment was like a 1/100 or something like that. And then getting darker and because by the way, this is about 2 hours of the video. So it's like getting darker and darker, and then ends up with very last lightning I showed the picture was about 3 to 4 seconds of the exposure time because shutter speed is getting slower and slower, slower and slower, and then ends up with coincidentally I got this great shot. Yeah, this great shot. This one and then this one. Yeah, this one and
That,
this one. This
gosh,
one. And then the video I show you, uh, this guy.
you can see the cloud to cloud lightning
Yeah,
there. So cool.
yeah. I try to get the sunset kind of orange glow of sunset. But
Mhm.
it out of sudden just start happening. And but this video I take little bit because it's a time lapse. So you only see one frame of the lightning. So,
Oh, I see. Yep.
so what I did was I doubled the lightning frame. So that's why you can see the lightning. Otherwise, it's just flash of one frame you can see. So I
Mhm.
just double, especially the lightning, the one, yeah, this one, I just double the frame to
Mhm.
make it more visible.
Mhm.
That is too cool. I feel like we just have the best photographers in this group, and I am in awe because I cannot take a photo for my life. So it's
And then
wonderful to see.
and then another one, another day, actually, very next day, I think. Wasn't that great? This guy is a rain because I was expecting the lightning on this direction, but it's just rain. But it ends up with very beautiful rain with sun.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow, wow,
With
wow.
the setting sun, that is insane.
With curtain of rain
In Arizona, is that right?
in Arizona because we have a big sky, so I can
Sure.
Wow.
see.
You're up pretty high too.
Yeah,
That's great.
and then also because
Nice.
I'm kind of enjoying the time lapse, so
I can see why.
because it's from my location. If I walk 5 minutes, I can see sunrise and sunset in every day. And then, as you know, Arizona, we have always clear sky. So this is beautiful morning glow. This guy, how you can see the changing the color of the cloud.
Oh,
Oh. There's even like a shadow crossing
Yeah.
it. That was crazy.
then sun comes out. Then all of a sudden we can see the bottom of the surface of the cloud. It's
Yeah.
so flat.
Wow.
That's sunrise. You are up pretty
Yeah.
early. How many days of the week do you do this?
I'm trying almost every day because I live by this mountain, so I can walk as a hike or every morning. So when I see the cloud, I always take with my camera with
So
the
that's not
tripod.
out your front yard, out your front door then. You
Not
hike
the front door, not the front door. It's just like 5-10 minutes up the
together.
mountain. I'm living by this mountain. So and then I use drone time lapse. These days, drone we can fly about half an hour in air, so I can take the time lapse from the air.
Wow. That's amazing.
Hero, there's a question in the chat that
Yeah.
asks, is the
Oh
time
wait.
lapse built into your Canon modes, or is it in the EOS control software in the computer or the phone?
Actually, it's a combination of everything. The I don't have where is chat? I'm not familiar with.
When you share the screen, it is difficult for you to see the chat
Yeah, I can.
window, Hero,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And later on, how I can do is with my EOS doesn't have time lapse mode. So what I do is
Okay.
remote shutter. The
Okay. Yeah.
remote shutter with like I can specify
Right.
how many.
You
Yeah,
you can do like so many pictures.
exactly. In
Right.
this
Okay.
interval, it's like a two
Yes.
second. Most
Yes.
of the time,
Interval shooting. That's what it is. Yes. Yes.
exactly. I'm doing like a 2 second interval shooting
Okay.
for infinite number. And then
Yes.
it's interesting. What I do those long time time lapse video is
Hmm.
because I'm living kind of safe area. So I just
Yes.
carry with my tripod and the camera, set up, then go hike, then come back
Yes.
and then just extract my gear
Oh, nice.
because
Right.
otherwise I don't want to sit there for like an hour and a half or something like that.
Okay.
So that's why. And then I can show some
Oh my gosh, you're lucky, Hero. You can just leave your camera and your tripod
exactly.
around.
I
Somebody,
would be worried
somebody
about the
adjust
rain
a little
falling
bit.
on it.
Yeah. No, we don't have rain in Arizona.
Don't have rain.
Oh, you have rain. Not a whole lot of it, but when you do,
Yeah,
you get a lot of it in a very short amount of time.
exactly. Because you know what? Last half year, we got the 0.03 inch of rain in
Yes.
last half year.
Yes.
So this is last year, first
Hmm.
day of first day of the year, last year.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like too
So
that Hero that builds
yeah,
on what Kaz and Heather were talking about in terms of the sunlight bouncing
Yeah.
off of the jets. Like you could see the jet on that because,
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
like because it was the right angle of sunlight hitting the trail, the
Mhm.
jet trail or the airplane.
Sometimes I can see 3-4 lines of jet
Hmm.
street.
But like it must have
cloud.
been there. It's just like it's where the sun is hitting it. I mean,
Yeah,
and the timing of it being there.
yeah, this one, right?
Like, yeah, there. See how it
Yeah,
gets brighter and brighter as the
yeah.
sun sets?
Rises.
But this kind of like a morning orangish the sunrise, we only can see few times of this one because this is very kind of narrow window because we have to have a cloud, low
Mm.
altitude cloud, and then we have to have a slit on the horizon to see the sun because sun shine the bottom of this the cloud to grow and make it orange, right?
Yep.
So I have to have a slow slit on the horizon. but I have to have a low altitude cloud. So
Right.
that's why we only have like I can say 10 times a year.
A year.
I can get I can get this moment. But
Thank you
coincidentally,
for sharing it with us. It's very special.
this is the first day of the year, coincidentally.
Oh, oh.
I gotta say,
This is the first.
astrophotographers, you guys just capture the wonder and the awe of like our place in the universe, which is so amazing. Oh, Yura, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing. That
sure,
was
sure, sure.
such a blessing to be able to see that. And welcome to the group. I feel like you're with it with kindred
Thanks.
spirits here, so I hope you can join us for our future things. And I don't know if you are on social media at all, but we have a very active Discord server where people really like to discuss the fine details of, image processing, the actual photographic equipment. Back in the day when we did the actual eclipse, our travel plans and things like that, and also just silly things like our cat photos and stuff like that. I will put the disc. Oh, I can't access my Discord for
I'll
some
do
reason.
that. I'll do
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, well, let's put the Discord link in the chat just for folks if they're new. I have Tom next on the list, and then if you want to wrap this up, I think, unless anyone else wants to share, let me know. Raise your hand or say something in the chat. But Tom, are you ready to share?
Yeah, I just have a couple things.
Go on
Uh,
then.
so we've been my wife is the big photographer, and I'm more of a gadget guy. So I'm sort of enabling her as we move along. And so her big thing that she likes to do is take pictures of the moon. And so I have like 100 million of these. And then you can see various things around it. And then once we started doing the eclipse things, we decided we would start looking for more stuff to take pictures of. And we happen to have a house in Michigan on the lake. And so this has been a fun year for Aurora, even all the way as far down as Michigan. And so we went out on the beach. Wait, did that share? There we go. We went out on the beach this year and we were able to get this photo of the Northern Lights just standing
Wow, and the Big Dipper.
at the big. Yeah, you get that. It just depends on the time of year, of course. And so we do it in the winter too. You won't get the Big Dipper in the winter, but it's much too cold to sit out on the beach and um, stand there and wait for the activity with my wife monitoring her phone and all the different Aurora things that are telling you how good it's going to be and in how many minutes and people reporting in from all over the world. But that was just astonishing to me because I didn't think I would ever see the aurora that well ever. But we saw it. We actually flew to Iceland a number of years back because we definitely wanted to see the aurora. And we got glimpses of it on the plane on the way in, and we were so excited. And we went to this like lava field where it was absolutely dark and nothing. Got absolutely nothing. And then instead, we drove 2 hours to Michigan several years later and had this for free just standing on the beach. So we were very excited about that. I have a whole lot more of those that I'm not going to show, and a whole lot more of the moon. But then we had a garage sale, or I guess an estate sale came up, and whoever it was, God rest his soul, had almost exactly the same camera equipment that we had. A bunch of Nikon cameras, a bunch of Nikon lenses. And he had this. And this is my favorite thing in the whole world now. This is a ZWO imaging camera. And so I'll hold it up to the thing, but
Oh,
this just
ZWO.
SWO, yeah, or SWO, or however you say it. I don't know. It's probably more easily pronounced in some other language. But it's just got a USB port and a camera, and I have the tube on it, so you can put this in the into your telescope. So I have an 8-inch Altaz telescope that I use. I couldn't use it for the Eclipse because it's a little too big for the Eclipse. For the Eclipse, we used a whole bunch of weird giant lenses that we acquired. I plugged that up, and I'm just going to show you this because it's cool. It is, I am not nearly as good as obviously you guys are. This was my first attempt at Saturn, or yeah. And so this is just me zoomed way in on Saturn, and the mobility there is it moving and the Altaz shake. And this is just the native AVI that was captured by the camera. And so I've gotten since then I've gotten some of the stacking, auto stacker and software like that, where I'm going to be able to start stacking the frames and hopefully, get something that's got some color and, isn't wobbling around on the screen like that. But this is, and to be clear, this is a picture this is an image I got in my backyard in the suburbs of Chicago. So the light pollution that is through is profound. But the fact that we could that you can sit there and you can put your telescope and aim it, and of course, it's tracking as best as it can. And I do a pretty good job of putting in my coordinates and a pretty good job of lining it, but not a great job. Good enough for an eclipse, maybe. But I was impressed how the software was able to find it and keep it. And we'll see someday that'll turn into well, actually, if I don't hurry up, I'm going to get a picture of Saturn that doesn't have any rings. And then I'll have to wait another year or two before they get rings again. But that's just an anomaly of space. But I was very excited about that. And I'll show one other toy I got. So in order to make all of that happen and help my wife take pictures of the moon, I got this Skywatch Star Adventurer. And what this does is it mounts on your well, it just mounts on a tripod of some sort, and then you polar line it, and then you hook there's a very nice little bar that you hook onto it that allows you to do all three of the rotations that you can do. Yeah, you've got one too. Very nice, and even as poor job as I do of aligning it, because in Chicago, it is only sometimes that you can even see the Northern Star. So I have found that I have a pretty good job of just telling the mount, right? So it has a mount that's the wedge, and I've done a pretty good job of telling it my longitude, my latitude, because I can just look at my phone and it will tell me my exact latitude to a pretty good pretty good number, and then you can just get that based on the dial, right? You can just read it off of it, and then my phone, you can put an iPhone into true north instead of magnetic north, and so I put my iPhone into true north, and I can just rest it on the top of it, and it does a very good job of allowing me to tweezle it to what it says is true north. And again, good enough for lunar photography, and I haven't tried hooking the cool Zulu thing up to that. I mostly just mount my cameras on there, so we get pictures of Saturn, but not that good. And we get my wife's her favorite thing now has become to take pictures of Jupiter, because of course we can take pictures of any planet we want right now. Some of us have to look through clouds and sun and light, but the pictures of Jupiter she likes to take because you can we can on clear nights we can get 7 or 8 of the moons around to show up, and she just gets giddy when night after night they're all in a different position, which I imagine is sort of how Galileo probably felt when he was like, what the hell is going on here? And so that was the that was the scope of that. But we have I can talk about the equipment, but we have some big like 500 millimeter lenses and 800 millimeter lenses that we hook up to it. But the 8-inch telescope is like hooking up a 2000 millimeter lens. So that's that's the one I like to use. But it's heavy and unlike some places, it rains and it's horrible weather in Chicago half the time or better. So we do have to be careful when we can go out there. And inevitably in Chicago, the very clearest of nights are like tonight when it is 4 degrees Fahrenheit. So I will not, in fact, be going outside and looking at whatever I can see because, well, I'll look briefly, but I won't be taking very many pictures. But
Right.
my
There's a
wife
limit
is
to the amount you'll suffer for for the
absolutely.
image.
I love to take pictures, but I don't love it that much. Which is fun. She's very good at taking pictures, and she's at work tonight, so she's not here, but she's very good at taking pictures, but she's not always sure what she's taking pictures of. And so I like to stand on the other side and point out which bright things in the sky are useful to take pictures of. But you were mentioning the contrails and the airplane things. We get a lot of airplanes where I live because we're just about halfway between both O'Hare and Midway airports. And so she is constantly attempting to capture a plane flying in front of the moon. And unfortunately, it's not on this computer, so I can't share it. But she has some that are so close that when you zoom in far enough, you can actually see the distortion from the heat coming out of the back of the plane going by, right? So the contrail coming out, you don't see the contrail, you just see the moon being distorted by it. And if you look off to the right, the plane is somewhere over there. So she goes out a lot and she's very tolerant of the cold, so she spends a lot of time doing that.
I love that you guys are a great couple in terms of photography, gadgets, know-how, desire. Like it just seems the partnership seems to work
It,
really,
it
really brilliantly.
well, I wish we were able to go to the house in Michigan more often because it's much darker in
Oh,
Michigan.
I know.
As by the lake right on the in what's called South Haven, Michigan. So
Oh, go
it's
on.
it's a neat area, but and unfortunately we don't have like a deck on our roof or nothing. So we have to schlep a couple of blocks to the beach, but it's not that big of a deal. And we have some I don't again not all on my computer, but we have some very nice comet pictures from earlier this year. We even got some comet pictures in my backyard in Chicago, but the good ones are over the lake in Michigan.
Oh,
And
thank
she
you
had
so
set
much for
up, and
sharing, Tom.
yeah. So anyway,
Oh,
just
it's brilliant.
simple
No
stuff. You
worries.
don't
No
have to be
worries.
full as everyone else's, but it's still good stuff.
Again, this is why the community is so great. We have everyone from everywhere with just enthusiasm and love and passion, and that's all that really matters. And I dig it. I think it's wonderful. Um, okay, so I want to make sure I leave enough time for Sudeep to go at the very end to close us out. You had one picture to show us, yes?
Yes, let me
Okay,
share my screen.
great.
Okay. So let me share the screen, hit the share button, and you don't see the panel with all of you, right? Or the control panel. You just see the picture itself.
Oh, I can see you. Is that what it is?
Bottom, yeah.
Or just the picture?
Okay. Just a picture without the panel with zoom. I can never tell. So last week, uh, I was feeding the dogs and I looked up and the moon was setting. The sun had not risen yet. So I went back, grabbed the camera, handheld, um, pop just a little bit. Um, uh, but I like this because the tree, which is in the house next to us, is out of focus and the moon is in focus. And I just like that effect.
Yeah, I like it too. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. The moon
Yeah.
is stunning.
Is that autofocus, or are you just really good at it?
So it's autofocus, but and I made sure that it's a Canon, and I made sure that it focused on the moon. F5.6. It's cropped in just a little bit, but not a huge amount of cropping. Um, and you would think the hyperfocal distance, infinity's infinity, but it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. The moon
right?
is far from infinity. Yeah,
And you'd think that depth of field, because a tree is a couple of 100 feet away or something like that, you'd think that it would be sharp, but it's not. And so um all the lessons that you read about depth of field and stuff like that, do the math, right? And
correct.
so gonna just share, let's see. This was about 6 years ago, and my bucket list is happy. I've successfully taken the Horsehead Nebula,
That's
right?
beautiful.
Okay. And that I'm going to shut up and stop sharing and pass it on to um uh, have I quit sharing?
Nope.
Someone help me. How do
Oh,
I?
not
Oh,
yet.
come on, you stupid
Just
computer.
stop time. There it is. There
Oh,
you go.
thank you so much, Heath. That's brilliant. All right, Sudeep, go ahead and close us out for the night. Thank you for waiting so patiently. I'm so glad you have a chance to share.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sudeep, and I'm also new in the team. And I'm a software engineer by profession, and I've been working as a software engineer and currently pursuing postgrad. So I'm just like I had some few pictures, and I'm also doing like stuff with the machine learning and image those kind of things. So I have interest over there, and I want to contribute over there. And here are some pictures that I have over the years. So I'd like to share that. Yeah, can you see the photograph? Yeah, this one was from a solar eclipse last year in April. I live in Canada, so we could really see the total solar eclipse, which you can see over here in the photograph with the perfect ring. I was right at the right place and the right time, so I could really capture this moment. Here is this, and this last year, like we had like a really good Northern Lights, so which we could see over here, and it was I'm up here in city, so because of the light pollution, I couldn't really capture the more. But yeah, this looks like this is some of the lights I could capture with the light pollution, and there
Oh,
are some more. And this is from up in the sky, like a capturing a sunset from the sky, at the right moment again, I believe.
hmm.
And there's like a photograph of the moon that I captured. I don't remember when, but yeah, I could really capture the details and those kind of things. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. I'll stop sharing now. Yeah, I heard about this team and a project from one of the website and wanted to be part of it because I am currently actively pursuing the machine learning. So I feel like I could really help and learn more regarding these kind of things. So yeah. Yeah, that's from my end. Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you. Yes, we were fooled by your background. We did
Yeah,
think you
it's
were
a
super
virtual background.
tropical.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah. I
you
wish it was that warm. It's I think -10 or something right now. Yeah, -12 right now.
oh,
So I wish it was real.
You're dreaming.
Uh,
Yeah.
so so do you
Celsius, I hope. Celsius and not Fahrenheit, right?
Yeah, it's
exactly?
-12 degrees Celsius. Yeah, no Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sudeep, were you aware of the Kaggle contest to do machine learning and training on photography analysis?
No, I'm sorry, but I'm not. Do
Yeah.
you
If you're on Kaggle, or if you know what Kaggle is,
yeah, yeah, of
it's
course. Yeah.
yeah, that platform. There was one. There's probably still a link lying around in our
Yeah, I'll put it
Discord
out.
for that, even though the contest itself is well over. But yeah, that sounds like that would have been right up your alley. And you might have fun just going and looking at it anyway.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would highly interest me. Yeah, I'll have a look at those projects. And I recently did a project with the image classification where we had bunch of images where and through the machine learning we could really predict whatever disease it had. So yeah, with the image processing I could really work on that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Laura. Put the Kaggle competition, our Kaggle competition for Eclipse Mega Movie in the chat. And I would just want to double check that you got our Discord link earlier, the invite. Okay, do join. It is a wonderful community, and I feel like it's never late. Another Kaggle competition. Yay! All right. Bring it on. Okay, we are 1 minute over, but I feel like we did fantastically, and we created a wonderful recording for people who are going to see this later. Hi. I just want to remind people of the total lunar eclipse next month, March 14th. So I am expecting some photos. I feel like I don't know if it will be time to process them in time by our next meeting, but it is fun to always have astronomical events that folks are out there pointing their cameras at. Oh, blood moon at 1 a.m. Ooh, okay. Okay.
Then our
Okay.
next meeting is the 17th.
Okay, it is a
Monday,
tight
March.
turnaround, so if anyone can manage it in 3 days, you get extra gold stars. Um, I think that is it for now. Oh, St. Patty's Day. Okay, yeah, come join us. With and Hero's birthday. Okay.
Oh,
I think everyone should have a beer on hand for Hero's birthday and for St. Patty's Day, or your beverage of choice. When we're green, we can do all the things.
yeah, we'll do all the thing.
I love it. We'll send out the email reminders. Welcome here, NCD. We're so glad you joined us. And we'll see you guys next month. Be well, be safe, and we can't wait to see your images and your work. All right, take care, everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.